2, 1. Welcome to the Kids Bible Broadcast. Welcome. Kids Bible Broadcast. Kids Bible Broadcast. Oh, and you see them. Welcome to Kids Bible Broadcast. Kids Bible Broadcast. Welcome to the Kids Bible Broadcast. This is the show that brings a little bit of crazy. Crazy. A little bit of crazy. And this is a show that brings you a little bit of crazy. A little bit of crazy. A little bit of crazy. And a whole lot of Bible. A whole lot of Bible. And a whole lot of Bible. Here's my Bible. A whole lot of Bible. A whole lot of Bible. And a whole lot of Bible. A whole lot of Bible.
Hey boys and girls, and welcome to the Kids Bible Broadcast, the show that brings you a little bit of crazy and a whole lot of Bible. KBB at home, we have one more room to discover together today, and I hope you're excited for it because this one's completely different. Over the last couple of weeks, we've spoken about the kitchen, the living room, the bedroom, the laundry, and so many rooms, and we've learned so much about our God in each of those different rooms. Today, we're going a little bit different. It's one of the places around the house that every single one of you use, and that is the backyard. So today, we're going to hand it over to Scarlett, and she's going to talk to us about the backyard.
Hello boys and girls, as we near the end of KBB at home, we hope that you've learned a lot from the different rooms of the house, and also that we don't have to be in one space to talk and learn about God. We don't have to be in our Sunday school rooms at church, even though we hope we can be there really soon, but we can even learn about God from our homes, even in our pajamas. So today we're going to take a step outside the house and we're going to take our lesson from the backyard. I'm actually facing my front yard, but you know, we're outside. I'm in my outdoor chair, and we are enjoying this beautiful springtime weather. And one of the best things to do in this weather is to head outside and to play our favorite games. Maybe we might play some handball, or we might kick the ball around, or play with our pets if we have pets. And we know there is only one thing that can ruin such a nice day. It's rain. As soon as it starts raining, we hear our parents calling for us to come inside. They might put a blanket on you and push you in front of the heater and say, oh, you're going to get sick now. And you just look outside the window and you just wish it had never started to rain. But we actually have a really important lesson to learn from the rain. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's go to our Bibles. We're going to turn to Genesis chapter 6. First book of the Bible, really easy. And we all know the story of Noah. And the amazing work that God did through him. We're going to touch on some of the main points of Noah's story today, and we're going to see what we can learn about him. Okay, so for in chapter 6, we're going to take our reading from verse 5, and the Bible says, "And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I had made them." So the first thing that we notice with this story is the sin of man. God looked down on earth and his creation, and all he saw was wickedness. All he saw was evil inside the hearts and the thoughts of all of mankind. And it grieved him at his heart that he had made them. So God decided to destroy man because of this. But the very next verse, in verse 8, it says, "But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord." Now, this is amazing because Noah's faithfulness shines so brightly here, because God saw Noah and he saw him that he was a faithful man. And in comparison, the rest of the world was evil. So Noah's faithfulness shines even more brightly because through the next few verses in chapter 6, it's God giving Noah instruction. He's telling him, this is how I want you to build the ark. This is what I am going to do to destroy the earth. And we can see Noah's response to all of this. Right at the end of chapter 6 in verse 22, it says, "Thus did Noah, according to all that God commanded him, so did he." So we can see that Noah is a faithful man of God, and God shows grace to Noah because of this. Now we're going to flip a few chapters. Staying in Genesis, we're just going to flip to chapter 9. Now, what we've just skipped through is the bulk of the story. So what happened now is Noah built the ark, God had sent the rains to flood the earth, and the earth had been destroyed. But now we reach a point where God is making a covenant with Noah and his family. And we're going to read about that right now. Okay, so in chapter 9, in verse 8, we read, "And God spake unto Noah, and to his sons with him, saying, And I, behold, I establish my covenant with you, and with your seed after you, and with every living creature that is with you, of the fowl, of the cattle, of every beast of the earth with you, from all that go out of the ark, to every beast of the earth. And I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood, neither shall any more be a flood to destroy the earth." So God is making an amazing promise. He's saying, I promise I will never send a flood again to destroy the whole earth as I just have. Okay? And keep going. "And God said, This is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations." So he's saying, I've just made this promise to you, but now I'm going to give you a sign or something that you can see to remember this promise throughout all generations. So let's see what it is. In verse 13 it says, "I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. And it shall come to pass when I shall bring a cloud over the earth, that the bow shall be seen in the cloud. And I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. And the waters shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. And the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it, that I may remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is upon the earth." So what he's saying here is, I've made this amazing promise to you, but now when I bring a cloud over the earth, or when it starts to rain, you're going to see a rainbow in the sky, and that is going to be a remembrance of the covenant that I have made here today. So the story of Noah could be seen as a bit of a sad story, but it's actually one that has a beautiful and a happy ending. So it shows us this amazing promise that God made to Noah and to all mankind, and we still get to see the reminder of that promise even today. We get to look up in the sky when it rains, and we see a rainbow. So the next time you're playing outside and you're playing your favorite games, and then you see the clouds roll in and you just know it's about to start raining, this is actually a time to remember that rainy days aren't such a sad thing, but it's something that comes before the arrival of a rainbow. Now, the rainbow has become not only a reminder of this specific promise that God made, that he will never destroy the earth through a flood again, but it's become a reminder that God is a keeper of his promises. And God makes so many amazing promises in his word that this is such an awesome thing. What are some of your favorite promises that God made? I'll share some of mine right now. So my favorites are that God will never leave us or forsake us. God has promised that he has also overcome the world, and that the Lord will give us rest. But most importantly, God promises that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. Now, these are amazing promises that God has made us, and even when we see a rainbow, we can be reminded that God is a keeper of his promises. So I hope you spend some time this week, boys and girls, just thinking about the promises of God. Maybe write some down or memorize some verses where God has promised us some amazing things, because then we can remember the goodness of God in our lives always. So I hope the story of Noah and the amazing way that God showed him grace to him and his family reminds us of God's great promises, and that when we see rain or a rainbow, we are reminded of God's great faithfulness. Thank you so much for joining me outside today, boys and girls. We hope you have a great week, and we can't wait to see you soon.
Thank you so much for that, Scarlett, and thank you, boys and girls, for joining us for another episode of KBB at Home. Now, before you do go today, we have another challenge for you all. Now, next week is our very last KBB at Home episode. Sad, I know, but what is cool about the last episode is you get the opportunity to tell us what your favorite thing has been. So what I want you to do this week is go through the KBB at Home episodes. There's about 7 or 8 of them. Take a look and find your favorite part. Then we want you to record a 10 to 20 second video of you telling us your favorite thing about KBB at home and the greatest lesson you learned from the last couple of weeks. Send those in to admin@faithbaptist.org.au. Mums and dads, if you got any questions, feel free to give me a call. We're so excited for next week's episode, and we thank you once again for joining us here at KBB at home.
Who's that neighbor over the fence?
Oh, g'day, Jordan. How's things?
Oh, hey neighbour Bob.
You okay there, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I think I'm just feeling a little bit lonely.
You know what, Jordan? I have.
What? You struggle with it too? How do you deal with it?
Well, I pray that God will be with me so I don't feel lonely.
Yeah, so did I.
Great.
But
But what, mate?
I don't know, neighbour Bob. You know, I'm not trying to doubt God, but how do I know that He's going to listen to my prayers?
Don't feel bad about that at all. It's important to let God know your doubts and your fears. And I do have an answer for your question, though.
Oh, you do?
It's all in the Bible. Did you know that He promises to be with us all of the time and He'll never leave us? It's in Deuteronomy 31:8.
He does? Oh, neighbour Bob, that's awesome.
That's right. And He promises He will. He will care for our burdens in Psalms 55:22.
Really? Wow. I didn't know that.
Jordan, you can always rely on God to care for you because He promised to. And God always keeps His promise, Jordan.
Wow, thanks neighbour Bob. I feel so much better about my prayers now.
No worries, Jordan. And hey, remember, if you ever need any help, there's always a neighbour over the fence.
Who's that neighbor over the fence? What's Peter been up to?